Recently at work, I'm an electrician, by the way. One of my coworkers asked me what all it takes to make and turn a pen. P-E-N, pen. So in this video, I thought I would make a video complete from ground zero, start to finish, selecting a pen blank, selecting a pen to do, drilling it, gluing it, and all that. It'll take me a couple days to film it because I gotta wait for glue to dry. So we're gonna get started on that right now. Let me turn on the lights. All right, so we take our pen blank, and it's all sealed up in there, so you have to break it out. You can see it better now. You can see it's just black and red. And as you turn it, this luster will go away, I think, because this is the top of the blank, and that's what it looks like after it's been cast. This is what was all underneath when they cast it. Don't know why it does that pinkish color, but it does. Kind of blends together, I guess. So we take our pen kit, take it all out, and what we're looking for is these two guys. These are the tubes that go inside, and they're exactly the same length. Okay, so we take our Sharpie, that way I know it's number one, and I would do the same thing on this, and I would find a side that's easier to see, and I will take, and I will leave a little bit on the edge here, and I will leave a little bit over here, and I will mark it. And then we'll, since they're the same size, you can use the same one, and I can mark it again. Cut off that much. And we go, let's say, that's the point. Okay? And we're going to go 1, 1. Don't worry, it'll come off when I turn it. Okay? One thing I like about this pen kit is it is pre-sanded. So the next step is put the Sharpie away. In the garbage, and we take our, and these go up a little bit. Need to cut off that 1/4 inch on the end. Cut it in half. So now we have our two blanks. Got my 7mm bit. Get these out of the way. Get this out of the way. We got to put make sure it's straight. Alright. So as you can see, I need to go lower yet. And the center is, I don't know if that can be seen on the screen or not. And not really. So let's see if we're right here where we can see what we're doing. So I line that up on the center there, and I'm going to hold this down, and I'm going to turn my drill on. Take this one out, and we have a hole completely through the middle now. See if I can see through that. There you go. And now we'll do this one. Very nice. All right. A little bit of clean mess up here. All right, we're done with that. Put the drill bit back. Put some super glue on this thing. This is thick. That's why it looks like this. Then we take our tube. We insert it in there. Kind of spin it around. Make sure it's in there all the way. We do it right till it's flush. Take this excess off. And then we take, where'd that paper towel go? Oh, my pocket. I noticed I didn't need that. Wipe off the excess off of here. Take the other tube, stick it on there. And we let them sit. It's going to take a little while for that to harden. I have activator, but I can't get activator into the whole thing. So we just wait. All right, I'm back in the shop. It's been, I don't know, 12 hours since I glued the brass in there. You can see the brass in there on each end. It's right there close. This one's even closer. I need to go and trim these down. We do that on the drill press, so we're going to go back over to the drill press. This is called a universal pin barrel trimming kit. And then we have to line this thing up. Okay, then we turn it on. And just bring it down till you see the brass. Then you flip it over. So at this point, it's just rinse and repeat. You turn it over, you do the other side, then you put the other blank in and you drill it out till you see the brass shiny. And then you flip it over, and this other one's got a lot more gap between the brass and the end of the blank, so it takes a little bit more drilling to do. So I get it down there. It takes a little bit of careful and watching. The way you can tell you're done, when you can see the brass flush, it gets shiny. And that's how you can tell. All right, we're done with this. So when we did this, we marked it, which way the tip was and which way was the back of the pin. And that's the way we're going to put this on here. So we slide off. We got a spacer on here. Got a second spacer on here to get it a little farther away from the tails, the headstock. Slide the first one on. Put a spacer in there that we turn down to. Put the second one on. Put the second spacer in here. And if I wanted, I could put another spacer in there. But I'm not going to. We're going to just run this over. And lock it into place. Then we turn this until it's tight. And then we set up to turn. So we want to be up a little bit. I want to make sure it doesn't touch. And we're going to start turning this, see how it works. This is really small, so we can actually start out at a pretty good speed. A little bit lower. Make sure it's still straight. A little more speed here. About 1200. This thing is incredibly dull. Try the round one. That's better. So you can see this one's mostly round. This one's still got some flat spots. Got a ways to go on that one. Tell when it's round because you start getting this stuff. As you can see, we're getting down pretty close to where I need to be. I do have some pin turning gouges. So this video is getting a little bit on the long-winded side, so I decided to speed everything up here and just do a voiceover. So I'm using the pin gouge, or spindle, for the made for pins. It's a little tiny spindle gouge. And then at some point I have to get the center part flattened out to match up with the rest of the bushings and everything. So I grab my skew and I'm trying to take down the center part between the bushings to get it a little bit closer to where I need to be before I start sanding. In a minute here I will go back to the little spindle gouge for the pen system, and I will just take off just a tad bit more, trying to get it a little bit flatter, a little bit more even, which won't happen. Basically the very last of the flattening will be done with sandpaper, and that'll be here just as soon as I get as close as I can, because the sandpaper plugs up with plastic really easily unless you use it wet. I don't usually use the sandpaper, turning paper as they call it, these strips I'll be cutting off in a minute, with water. I have done it before, but it doesn't really make it any easier. So it's 150 grit. Since we're making swirls this way, I always go over them this way, just kind of knock them down a little bit with each grit. Now we're going to get a 240 grit. Through the 320 grit. Should just slide this over so it's easier to get to. Then 400. This, but it has pearlescent in it, like a pinkish pearlescent in the middle. Did not know that when I looked at the blank originally. That's probably why that weird sheen was on there. 3,200 grit of these. And we'll do the and it's ready to be a pen. Just kidding. Now we get to go to the micro mesh. This one is 1,500 grit, and I need water for it. I no longer need the air on, or the dust collector, so we don't want to get it wet. All right, so I'm going to double up this towel and put it right there. All right, so at this point on, I don't even have to shut the thing off anymore. I can just wet these things down a little bit. I will shut it off in between so you can see what it looks like. I'll get a paper towel and wipe it off. That one goes back. So this is what it looks like after 1,500. All right, so the scratches are all gone. We just got to polish now. So we're going to turn this back on. This one is 1,800. Doesn't take much. Switch out to the next one, which is 2,400. You see it's still dull. Looks shiny with the water on it though. And then we're going to go to the gray one, which is next, which is 3,200. See, it's starting to get smooth. I do it till I get like a milky color here. Means I'm getting some material off of the blank. Dry off the pad, dry off the blank. I'm going to switch 3,200 out for the 3,600. I know it's baby steps, but look how smooth that looks. I can do these dry, but it doesn't come out quite as good with it dry. So like dry, it'll actually be 3,600, but with wet, it's going to be more like 3,800, I swear, because it seems to be a lot smoother after doing that wet sanding. All right. Now we're going to go to 4,000, which is the blue pad, or the teal pad. And turn it back on. These ones won't slurry up as much as the first ones did. It takes a lot longer. Basically just taints not quite as clear a water. Alright, we're going to go to the next one, which is 6,000. You can see it's already getting shiny. Also makes the sandpaper last longer if you do them wet. On to 8,000. Jumping by thousands now. And you can see it's really shiny. Finally, 12,000 grit. You can see how shiny and smooth that is. I like to turn this one speed up a little bit too. Running at 1,600 RPMs. Oops, got to dry it off. All right, and that is what it looks like after. It's all glossy. Now, we have to put it together. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is open this thing up. Need to get our parts out. We paint, first off we do is we put in the we're going to push the clip or the tip into the tip end of our blank, which is this end. So we set it like that and we slide this thing back. And there's a little dent there. Just tied it in there. Line this up with a hole. Bring this in. Tighten this down. And we press till it touches. Okay, once we're done with that, we can wiggle it back out. And then we take our twist mechanism and we stuff it in the other end. And we do the same thing, only we're going to expand this out a little bit further so we have room to get the pin in there. Now, this is the tricky part. It has a spot where you're supposed to run it up to, but I stopped short. I put in the pin refill. You twist it in, and and you twist it out, and you want to make sure it goes all the way back. And I just got it right. If I'd have went any farther, it would have looked terrible. So then we take the band, that's the part that goes in between, and we slide that over here, and we just push it on down. That's just for looks. And then we have to figure out, okay, we take the clip for the back. Sorry, I bumped the camera. Take the clip for the back and the cap for the clip. This is just the end piece for the other part. We grab the correct end, we put the clip there, we put the cap in to the clip. Some of these times these things are really tight. There we go. Then we decide where we want that clip to cover, if there's anything we want to cover up, or however we want to align it. And then we push the cap partially in, move the pin out of the way, run this thing back down a ways, and then we take and we press it in. And then we have the clip and the cap on, the end piece. Then we just have to slide it into here, and we can rotate it. Oh, look, I got it right the first time. And then we have a completed pin. And that is how you make a custom pin on the lathe. I actually like this one. I may have to use this one for work. So if you like this video, get out of there. You too. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button. Also, let your friends know about it. Share it on your social media. Feel free. It gets more people seeing my videos. I do this for entertainment, sometimes for education, like this one is kind of educational. I'm not in any way a professional at turning pins. I've turned a couple hundred. That doesn't make me a professional. I have changed my ideas on how to do it over the time, and still am perfecting how to do it. Also, I need to get my sharpening jig up for sharpening all my gouges and stuff, because they're definitely way too dull. Hit the subscribe, like, and the notification bell. That way you'll know when new videos come out. Thanks for watching.